Hey guys, how's it going? This is Dylan again and welcome back to my channel. So I'm pretty excited today. We're gonna be continuing on our augmented reality game. And last time we went through and created the assets for the game. We had a few of the bombs created, a few of the walls. And I was thinking about the project as a whole, and I'm thinking, today we're gonna be creating the levels. I want to prototype one level, but I think we're gonna be missing a few pieces to be able to create a building. So what I'm gonna do as soon as we start is we're gonna be creating some of those pieces that we're missing, some 3D models that we're gonna need to support the building. And then right after that, we'll start creating a level. So let's get to it. All right, guys, so this is the scene that we worked on last time. We have basically these components for 3D objects. So we have the 3 bombs right here, and we also have a few walls. So what I want to do is, before we actually keep going, is I want to actually check into source control. We haven't done that, and we should actually be, been doing that more consistently. And the reason for that is because if we don't, we might screw something up, and basically we won't be able to revert that easy. So I'm gonna find the folder where I save those files. So I'm gonna go into games, and I believe it's under videos, and this is gonna be the AR game. So if I do a git status on it, we're gonna get probably a lot of changes because I haven't checked anything in. So I'm gonna check it in using git. You can also use source tree for this, and I'm gonna say project was a structure and created initial 3D models. So we have that in there, and I can actually just go ahead and push my changes to Big Bucket. So while that's happening, let's actually open up Chrome, and I'll show you how that looks like in Big Bucket. So if you look at this, it was last updated on the 27 seconds ago. So if I go to the commits, I can easily see that the project was pushed because that was my latest change. Okay, so we can basically minimize this. We don't need this console anymore. So the next thing that I want to do, I'm gonna start creating the base for the building, but I'll show you what pieces we're missing as soon as we start building the building. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna create a new object on the hierarchy, and I'm gonna call it AR root. This is what Unity recommends for scaling. I actually don't want to scale this anymore. So if I look at the cube, they're still too big, but I don't want to have to scale every single little one. And the reason for that is because when you scale down, it actually makes it really hard to model. So I'm going to use this object for the scaling. So we're going to basically move every single one of these objects into the AR root. And that should be in the origin, actually. So we're just going to move this to the origin, and I'm gonna move that cube a little bit to the side so we still have it as a reference. So I'm not gonna scale him right now, but when we get ready to deploy or changes to a device, we will scale it. Okay, so let's see. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to actually create a building. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start doing that. And let's actually duplicate. So I'm gonna duplicate that first one, put it on the side, and I'm gonna, right about there. We just look at some settings. Snap. Okay, yeah, all it looks fine. So that's on X, or X looks fine. Okay, so I'm gonna close. All right, so what I'm gonna do again, I'm gonna duplicate this one more time, and we're gonna be creating a wall. I want to create a wall that is basically 2 by 2 on each side, So, and we're gonna be using some of these. So the next thing that I want to do is I want to duplicate that one more time. This time I want to rotate that 90 degrees. And I'm gonna leave kind of a little opening here. I like that style. And we're gonna actually duplicate that one as well. So there's looking like a wall. And now I'm gonna duplicate that one. We're gonna bring it in here. I'm gonna go 90 degrees. And I'm using my V key on the keyboard. So if you hold your V, you basically can select the vertices on the edges and actually snap. So if I'm holding my V, I can actually snap it on any one of the points on the mesh. So that makes it really easy for modeling. Okay, and I'm gonna duplicate that one, and I'm gonna rotate it 90 degrees. Actually, 0 degrees on Y. Duplicate that one. Okay, so we're gonna duplicate this guy. And this is, trial and error. I'm not gonna try to create anything perfect. I like whenever you're creating a level, try to do it with a variety of assets, so it looks more, like real. Okay, so let's see. So we're gonna be doing that one as well. All right, I'm gonna turn off lighting because that's basically making it hard to see. Okay, so what I was talking about, the pieces that we're gonna need is because we're gonna be stacking these walls, we're gonna have walls basically on top. We're gonna need something to support the walls because we're gonna be using physics. So if we were to basically leave it as they are and then stack them on top, they're gonna fall down as soon as we turn on physics. So what I wanna do is I'm gonna actually use this wall that is basically straight, there's no angles, and I'm gonna call it wood. We can just call it wood support. And I'm gonna rotate it on Z 90 degrees. We're gonna scale it down. And I don't want him to be, so I'm gonna go, let's go right about there. You could actually create a new shape and definitely model it if you wanted it to look different using Pro Builder, but I'm just gonna clone. And I want to make sure that they stick out just a tiny bit because it actually is gonna give it a cool look. And I'm gonna go thinner and something like that. Let's go back. I wanna make sure that it's touching just a tiny bit. Okay, so that's perfect. And the next thing that I want to do is I want to create a new material. So right now they have the wall material, and we're just gonna call it wood. And let's just give it kind of like a wood color. And we can go here, assign that, and I'm gonna create a prefab out of that as well. So I'm gonna drag and drop it into the prefabs. And let's change that color. There we go. Something like that. Okay, so now that we have our wood support, we can adjust it. We can duplicate it and duplicate it one more time. And this is basically what's gonna support the walls. So think about it, in terms of physics, because if you have these be too short on the z axis, it's gonna fall down when we attach a rigid body. So there we go. So that looks great. We always want to be thinking about the goal of the game. So when you're designing your levels, just think about all the elements. So we have bombs, and basically we're going to be attaching them to walls. So if every one of these walls have a rigid body associated with it, and you know, when you turn physics on, they're actually gonna fall. So we're gonna need a floor at some point with kinematics assigned. So for now, I'm not gonna worry about it, but we'll do that on the next video when we assign rigid bodies and work on some of the physics. So okay, so I'm happy with that. So the next thing that I want to do is I want to duplicate the walls on the sides, and I'm actually gonna go to that mode, orographic, and okay, that's perfect. Let's go back to orographic view, make sure that it is touching, and I'm gonna duplicate him one more time. I gotta put him right there. I wanna make a 2-floor building, maybe a 3-floor, and then the 3rd floor will make a smaller room. So actually what we're gonna do instead of doing that is I'm gonna duplicate them all. So duplicate it and go back to side view. Alright, so I'm happy with that view, that look. And I'm going to duplicate the wood supports. I'm gonna put it right over there. Right about, there we go, it's touching just a little bit. That's perfect. Awesome. So if you notice, these are basically the same and they're a little bit boring. So what we can do is we can actually just swap some of them, so we give it a little bit of a different look. And I'm going to just put them in place. Remember using your V key. This one we can actually, we can just go that way. And I'm going to move it in place. There we go, looks a little bit different. And these ones are also, that's fine, those are perfect. Okay, all right, so let's actually go one more floor. And in this one, I'm actually gonna go there. Just move it out a little bit to the side. I want to create a little bit of a room. And I'm going to grab our window and snap it. Let's see, so if we're looking at the building in that direction, we want to be able to look at that window. So one thing that I haven't done is we gotta actually remove one of the faces so that we can see through. So what we can, oh, it looks like we removed the actual Pro Builder mesh, so that's fine, we'll do that later. So, and then the next thing is I'm gonna duplicate one of these straight windows, one of the straight walls, and put it right there, and let's do this one as well. And there we go. And the other thing we can do, we can actually make a little roof. So I'm just gonna call this one wood roof, and I'm gonna drag it and drop it into prefabs as well. And we can size this. I'm gonna be using this quite a bit on other levels, so let's actually make sure that we size it correctly. And let's see how that looks. So let's actually move it up a tiny bit. And let's go back. Let's go to wireframe, shaded wireframe. And okay. Okay, so we can go up one more level. I want this first level to look really cool. So let's try to aim for that. And okay, so that's awesome. And we'll duplicate the roof one more time. Awesome. Okay, so that it's looking, just looking at it. Okay, so that looks good. One problem that we're gonna have is if you look at the wood support, this wall is gonna fall. So and like I say, this doesn't need to be perfect. So we could actually move that a bit to on the X direction and do the same thing with this other one. And then we can duplicate this one and just put one in the middle. There we go. So that's looking great. These are basically not gonna be finished buildings, so which is actually great because we're gonna be treating them as, you know, old buildings that we have to demolish. So the other thing that I want to do is actually place some of these bombs and attach them just to see how it's gonna look. So let's actually duplicate. Let's go to our dynamite, and I'm going to let's go and rotate it. So let's rotate it 180 degrees and -90. All right, perfect. So when we're playing the game, what we're going to be doing is we're basically going to be attaching. So we're going to have a bomb attached. We're going to have a raycast, definitely checking to see that we're hitting the walls. And every time we're hitting a wall with our finger in augmented reality, we're going to attach a bomb. We're actually going to limit those. We definitely not going to allow many. So we might have 1 or 2 in each level, and we'll play around with those just to see what makes sense. So it's going to be something like that. And then let's say that we also want to add a trigger. So we will put one right on the ceiling. It's going to be really, really cool to be able to do this in AR. And because think about it, normally if we're looking at a game from this view, and that's the only view that you always see in a game, you can't really look behind the scenes. So if we were missing, let's say that this wall was open and we needed to place a bomb inside. So for instance, if we grab the old style bomb and we put it, we place it right there, we're gonna have a different damage on different areas of the building. So this might allow us to destroy the top floor, where these two will allow us to destroy the bottom floor. So the strategy would be, you gotta place a bomb right there, and then you gotta place a few bombs in the front of the building. Definitely we're not gonna allow these many bombs, otherwise it's gonna be too easy of a level. We might just allow this dynamite group and then possibly that other bomb on this building. So now if we go back, and I think that actually looks, let me see if I can change the color of that building, of the wood, a tiny bit. Actually, it was good as it was. Okay, and let's turn lighting on. So the last thing that I want to do in this video is I want to create the base, basically our ground. And to do that, I'm thinking we can just use one of the wood supports and we can just scale it, but I'm gonna call it wood ground. We can create other types of grounds as we create more levels. And I'm gonna go to, let's see, go to Y and resize this a tiny bit. So the way that this is gonna work is this is gonna be set to kinematic, and that way it can support the entire building. So the building doesn't fall down in the air. And so you might be also asking, how is this gonna work in augmented reality? Well, the way that it's gonna work is that the AR root component, it's gonna be the one that it snaps to the planes that we're gonna be detecting. So as we run the augmented reality scan of the area, it's basically going to detect the point, and then once we detect what that point is in space in augmented reality, we're going to move that entire structure to that area. And at first we might just use that scaling, and then we'll modify the scaling. I might add a slider to the game so that we can control the scaling and then test on our phone, on our devices before we actually decide what the scaling it's gonna be. We did talk about not going beyond 0.7 meters, so we will stick with that. I just want to also troubleshoot it and see how it's gonna look before we go with that number as our final number. So okay, so the last thing is let's actually create a prefab out of the wood ground. And I'm going to change the color of that. So let's create a new material, and I'm going to call it wood ground. Let's attach it to our wood ground, and I'm going to just change the color a tiny bit so it doesn't look the same. And it's actually, I was thinking if I should just go dark. Yeah, actually looks way better. I want to match kind of like the tapes on the bumps. Okay, and let's see. So there you have it. That's basically the buildings that we're gonna be destroying. So on the next video, what I want to do is actually go in and attach the physics components that we're gonna need on each one of these objects, and then right after that, I think the next would be to actually clean this up and move this from being a prototype level to an actual level, and then in a future video, what I want to do is I want to generate this dynamically. So we're gonna be creating a script that saves these levels to a JSON file, and then we load them basically from a JSON file to the scene. And what that's going to allow us to do is I want to actually animate the way that this building is constructed, because if we just basically build, have a building and have it show, it's just not going to be as fun. I think it'll be fun to see it actually being constructed, and then we're going to be the ones that demolish the building. So that's basically everything for this video, guys. Thank you very much again for watching, and if you have any questions, let me know through the comments, and don't forget to to share this video and to subscribe to this channel. And thank you again, guys.